This is Christoph Yalik.
This is Just Janet.
And this is K. Colley.
And this is
the Just Nuggets Podcast.
Good afternoon and welcome to another episode of the Just Nuggets Podcast. There is no better words in sports than Game 7.
Game 7.
And the Nuggets pulled off a big win in Ball Arena in Game 6 to take it to 3-3 for the Sunday showdown against the OKC Thunder. Christoph, Mr. Porzingis, Jokic, how you doing over there?
Yo, I mean, we have a 68 win team, like scrambling, and we'll get into it, but like I'm feeling good. Like if you told me 2 weeks ago we'd be going to Game 7 with them, I would have been like, or hell, let alone the day Mike Malone got fired, I would have been like, I'll take that every single time, So the Nuggets are right where we would dream for them to be. So I don't know, Jays, how are you feeling?
I love it. Thank you, Nuggets. I mean, not that I ever doubted you, because when we first started, I said Nuggets in 7. I knew it was going to go long, but it was touch and go there when we had Game 4 and 5, and we just missed that by the hair on chinny chin chin. And I thought, that could have got us better. Who wants to go to a Game 7? But they're the best 2 words in sports. I get it. And people are happy and thrilled that we're there. And so am I. So all I want to say is thank you, Nuggets. Looking forward to the game.
It's funny. One of our running jokes is, well, you can't win in 7 if you don't lose 3. I think this year has been that kind of for the Nuggets where we know that they have the championship DNA to pull out things, but we know it's going to take. They just don't always have the talent on the bench,
right?
Even though we will get into it today. We'll get into it today. We had some big bench minutes today, from Game 6.
Yeah,
but that has been the reason why it's harder to pull out these series, because we were just talking about it. I think if the Nuggets have one other player, basically what I'm saying is that the Nuggets are a lot better than the OKC Thunder if you think about it, because AG's hurt.
Yeah.
Jamal's got the flu. Michael Porter got one shoulder, and Jokic they're triple teaming.
Yes.
And the Nuggets are still the Nuggets are still taking them to Game 7 without even sometimes not even having a bench play. So there's just a lot there too.
God, I was talking to Jays off pod about this. The Nuggets would have won this series in 5, definitely 6, if they had a bench.
Yeah,
that's the thing. Is like this team almost won 70 games. They're all-time. When you look at the pantheon of great teams, you know what I mean? Like their name will be there for regular season for sure. Most wins in a season, they're right there. And if they get through tomorrow, I have a feeling they will be in Indiana or New York come finals time. And that's not to sell Minnesota short. That's just to say I think the team we're dealing with is an absolute monster, and they've done it correctly the whole way. But at the end of the day, this Nuggets team with the bench would have beat them in 5 games. And that's what it is. Like you see when they get bench production, like with Mr. Strawthard coming out of nowhere.
Yeah, let's talk about it.
On Game 6. And he came out of nowhere. And I think that was an absolute heaven send. But also at the same time, it's like we needed that. Like I'm not gonna pat this dude on the back. And I've heard like, it was Jay Williams on ESPN. And I said a while ago, I'm gonna stop listening to the national media, but sometimes, going into Game 7, I just wanted to hear, the chatter,
Yeah.
So I turned it on, and he said the Nuggets fans need to send an apology letter to Calvin Booth. Completely screwed up.
Was that Nick Wright who said that?
No, he said Jay Will.
No,
Nick Wright said that too.
Will.
Oh, stop.
But you guys,
that's what I'm saying. It's like you guys drop into these. You guys, 2 people that don't even like the Nuggets, who now are all in on the Nuggets because they just want to go against counterculture. And when everyone wrote them off, they're like, "Gee, I told you about the Nuggets." If you really think that we should give a thank you letter to Calvin Booth, you do not know what you are talking about.
No.
Because the reason why the Nuggets are in this situation is because Calvin Booth sucked. Because one of his things paid dividends over the course of the season.
2 years. 2 years.
Congratulations, you did your job. Should we give you a cookie? No, we fired you. And one thing came to you. I'm not giving an apology. You did your job. Thank you. And if you did your job better, we would have beat them in 5. So I'm not giving him that one. I'm fading so hard, maybe because I don't like the dude.
And
but like still, but
can I
thank
add to
you,
that?
Julian Strawther, because that 15 points was so necessary. We would have never. It would have been a tough sled in the 4th, but he saved the game.
And Christoph, can I add to that? The lie there with the Calvin Booth narrative there is to act like Mike Malone wasn't a big Julian Strawther guy.
Yeah.
Because Julian Strawther was in his rotation the whole year until he got hurt.
Yep.
It wasn't as if but he wasn't in the offense. It was just that Strawther
and
got
as
hurt.
A rookie too.
Here's the thing
with that,
and here's the news flash of the day. It wasn't that he was all gun ho necessarily on Strawther. It was about Pickett. It was about Pickett more than it was about Strawther, because Strawther, like you said, was playing. And then he got hurt. He was in rotation.
To the Strawther, I have a theory for why Strawther got going in Game 6, but I'm curious to hear what you all think.
No, we want to hear it. Go for it.
Oh, well, I think so. The what's going on is that obviously the Thunder know we're not a great shooting team,
Mm-hmm.
so they are leaving guys open on those corners, right?
Yeah.
They're packing the middle and they're leaving the guys out open in the corners. Now, throughout the series, you've had Russ shoot that 3.
Yeah.
You've had CB shoot that 3.
Right.
You've had Michael Porter with the arm hurt shooting that 3, and then you've had AG. So I think what was going on with Julian Strawther is that they was like, okay, here's another guy,
and he's a bench guy, we haven't seen him.
That we haven't seen. And in Game 5, he played all right, so we're not really worried.
Yeah.
And Julian Strawther, we've known as a Nuggets player, he can hit the 3. Like, he's not.
Oh yeah, that's what he does.
If you go listen, it's funny enough. I can say something like this. If you go listen to our Just Nuggets Summer League, we were like Julian Strawther is going to be a big part of this team.
And
we talked about how great he played in the Summer League and his dominance.
Right.
So you know why? Why?
Ben.
Because he can shoot.
Yeah,
and that's what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
You can't leave a guy like Julian Strawther wide open in those same holes and not expect him to hit him every now and then.
This pod's gripe with Strawther is that we know you can shoot.
And you don't do it well all the time.
And you don't do it well enough for consistency. That's our gripe with you.
And Christoph, the other reason I was going to say about the Strawther is the reason he can play in this series is because the Nuggets are playing a 2-3.
Yeah,
they're playing zone.
2-3.
They're playing zone. So the thing that one of the gripes with Julian Strawther has been his defensive prowess.
Yep.
But the ability to be disguised in a 2-3 now allows him to not have to do as much on the defensive end. The same way with Jokic.
Same way with Jamal.
Same with everybody. And that's what's kind of kept us in this defensive thing that allows Julian Strawther to get those shots.
And it makes me happy just to continue this conversation about why Strawther's 3s was critical for that game and will be for Game 7 is because now they'll have to defend for him. Okay. And that frees up who in the middle?
Mr. Jokic.
So they got a problem on both. So now that we displayed that we do have some shooters, they have to count for him. And his name has been all over TV all weekend. So, since we had that game. And so they have to do it. If they don't, then that's stupid. So that's
you think they're gonna over rotate on Strawther?
Not just on him, but on the 3s, anywhere around the edge now.
I think they still might not because here's the thing, AG's hurt. Like hamstring wise, so I don't think they got to over rotate on that. Christian Brown has been mas o menos when it comes to 3-point shooting.
Well,
I think Julian Strawther is he's gonna come off the bench and play basketball again. He probably will get some more shots too. But I just don't know if they are gonna over rotate. I just think they're gonna make sure they put a hand in his face. Like they're not gonna let him go off.
That it frees in any event, if they're like smothering Joker in the middle when we do that, and when we play man, we play man.
Yeah.
They play man all the time. They don't ever change.
To your point, if it's gonna be Julian Strawther, Jokic, and Russ in those moments, if Julian Strawther can make people crash a little bit. Russ can at least maybe get the ball into Jokic easier.
Drive the basket. It'll just give them a thought. Even if they have to think it, they haven't been thinking it prior to that showing.
Here's how I'm thinking about this. And I knew it was going to start happening in the Nuggets fan ethos. I'm not asking for that again.
No.
Like in Game 7, it's like it's who steps up. Like, hell, if Jalen Pickett comes in and gives you 12 points that you didn't see coming, I'm with it. If it's Russell Westbrook, if it's Julian Strother again, but like to say like, okay, now we kind of want that, we need that from Julian Strother. I think that's the worst way to go about this.
No,
You know what I
I'm not
mean?
saying you need it. It's just that it's going to be more people that they have to defend. That's all I'm saying. However they think of it. If it's Pickett in there, they don't know what he's going to do. I
I
agree.
was here, this is the one, this was my deep cut. I started thinking about yesterday. P. Watt. I think, P. Watt's never been a scorer or anything, but if P. Watt gives you down the stretch in the fourth quarter, he gives you
A shot, a
couple.
three-quarter points.
He gives you two blocks or a
Yeah,
block and a steal, and he gives you 5 points, a big three, or an and one, and
yeah,
a steal dunk.
that's
A la
helpful.
Christian Brown in Miami in Game 4, Game 3, whatever it was, the finals. Where he just jumps the pass, or Russ in Game 1 versus the Clippers, where he jumps the pass, gets a fast break dunk. He does one of those things to steal a possession, gets a block, gets a steal, gets 5 points. 5 meaningful points in a big spot, I think that could be huge for him. So I'm not. When you get to Game 7, you throw out everything. It is a fight claw to win the game.
Yep.
The Nuggets, we've been getting a lot of praise over the last couple days about our experience in Game 7s. You two know, every Nuggets fan listening and can hear my voice right now knows that like the Nuggets are scrappy and they've been in this situation. They won them, but also they lost them. Last season came to an end because you went to Game 7 and you hit an absolute wall.
Super
You could
tired.
say they were tired. You could
They
say
were
what it
tired.
was. The bench wasn't there. Whatever it was, you hit Game 7. You hit the wall. Flashback to 2019. You let Evan Turner kill you, and then when down the stretch, you started to switch your
You're
focus because
unexperienced in that one.
an unsung hero of Evan Turner came up and popped up on you, and then you let CJ McCollum get to his spots,
Yeah,
and that ended you. So the
That was Nuggets
Nuggets,
youth right there. That's
I
just
get you.
very
But
youth.
what my point is, Dot, is that the Nuggets know the flip side of the Game 7s as well.
Yeah.
So we've been getting praised for our experience, but we also know the pain that comes with your season ending because you made one mistake. You had 7 points, Michael Porter Jr. in Game 7. We know what that feels like. Jamal Murray, you had 14 points in Game 7. We know what those feel like, those moments. It's time to give OKC that. If I was Adelman, this is my last point, and I'll let you guys wrap. Is if I was Adelman today or yesterday, whenever we have our meeting, I know he gave him a day off yesterday. So today, I wouldn't even do anything. We would travel, and as soon as we had our team meeting, I'm throwing on Game 7 from last season, 2024. I'm
sure.
putting on Game 7 versus the Wolves. That's what we're gonna watch. And then after that, I'm gonna do something for Russ. I'm gonna show that Russ, you have no championships.
I'm gonna show him
And I'm just gonna
2016.
leave.
I'm gonna show him 2016 when he's down 3-1, up 3-1, and still lose that series to Golden State.
And I'm not gonna say anything. Like we've done 6 games with this team.
Yeah, we know the
We've
team.
studied.
We know
We
them.
know this team. At
Yeah.
this point, there's no film study we need to do.
No,
All I'm gonna do is come off. I'm gonna read Michael Porter Jr.'s stat line from Game 7 last year. I'm gonna read AG's stat line from last game. I'm gonna show them that. That's
And you know what
the
else I'm gonna do,
pain.
Chris?
That's where we're running from.
On the bus, I'm throwing.
And it's a two. Sorry.
Yeah.
And it's against Minnesota.
Yeah.
And they're the ones waiting for you. So you know the heartbreak of losing Game 7 in the same spot last season, and the team that beat you is the one that you could go get the revenge from.
I'm throwing on Last Dance too, because that's just, you gotta have that. That's always a motivator. But other things, so a few points just to comment on some things you were saying. I think when you're talking, what we were talking about is Julius Strawther and large part of the bench. As you know, our Just Nuggets stat of the series is Michael Porter plus bench has to get over 26 and a half for us to win. 25, but 26 and a half is like the line we want to hit. If I saw that in Vegas and I seen that the Nuggets got 27, I expect them to win this game. Michael Porter plus bench got to get 26 and a half. So I don't know. As we said last night, game 6, we got 37 points from that, and we won. All the 2 games we lost in game 5 and game 4, we didn't get it at all. And then obviously in game 3, we got it. In game 1, we got it. So I'm kind of to Christoph's point. I don't know who's gonna step up, but those Michael Porter plus bench have to figure out a way to give us 25 plus 26 and a half points.
Yeah, so let's stay with Denver because we'll go to OKC and what we think about them in a minute. But as far as AG, I mean, he's going to play, but how well can he play? He says, it's a hamstring. He just slightly pulled it supposedly, but they're terrible. I mean, I don't want him to come out full force. And then if he could just get a couple minutes and they sit him and then put somebody else in, that's fine. He had 5 points last, and that was one of the reasons probably what was going on with him in game 6. He had 5 points. So we need somebody to do his defense. Her prowess.
Yeah.
And it's got to be a forward. So, I mean, is it DJ or Najee, or it's got to be somebody tall.
Yeah.
He needs to get that. He needs to get that treatment or that shot that Michael Porter got before game 3.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Whatever that meant.
We said that the moment AG got off that court, there's two trainers getting to work.
Walking with the 24 hours.
I mean, that man woke up and they
still in there pumping that hand. Yeah, I would like that. If I heard that's what happened, they worked on him for 36 hours straight or something, I'd be a happy camper.
I would say I think AG is going to play and he's going to play hard because I think if this is the last game of the season, if he doesn't, I think he's going to play hard. And I think that if we do win this game, I hope we win this game. I believe we're going to win this game, hopefully. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
all those things. It's game 7. Game 7, everything about game 7 just gets thrown into a pot and they just mix it up and you never know what's going to happen. But I'd say that in doing that, I think AG can rest game 1 if we beat the Timberwolves.
Oh, absolutely.
So I do think this is just a one go out. If you can get it, good. If you're not, we can. If we get to that next series, we can figure out a way how to
get. Yeah, you can lose
a game or two.
Because it's at home.
Yeah,
I mean, we have home court. If we could get there, we would have home court.
Yeah.
The other thing I want to talk about. Sorry. The only thing I want to talk about is Jamal. We didn't talk about him yet. Jamal had the flu.
Yep.
They never said that, but he was obviously either he had something sick on his stomach or he had the flu, but he was peaked, let's say that. But he came out playing like that. Hopefully he get whatever pizza he ate or who people he was around, he get around them again so he can come out again.
Great.
Because he was focused. That's what it was. When you know something's going on with your body, you kind of have a thought or plan on how you're going to approach something. I think he was just being so focused about himself in that game that he just came out firing. He came out hitting his baskets early. And we're like, oh, Jamal's fine. I mean, he may not be, 100%, but he's good because he's hitting shots. When he is 100%, he may not have made. I mean, so, I just think that's one thing.
I have one thing to say back to the AG point. Like, as soon as I saw that Tim McMahon was the one that was breaking the news that he's doubtful for game 7, that gave me a good feeling because Tim McMahon been the ops. Like him and McMillerman, I don't like either one of them. Like the way they talk about the Nuggets, they always talk about them with that smug, like, oh yeah, like whatever team they're playing, they're quietly rooting for the other team. So as soon as I saw that, I was like, he's the ops. Nuggets in 7.
Well, we can start talking about that. It's a whole lot of people that I've heard a lot of people on now between our win of game 6 and this 7th game talking about how they're a little bit nervous about OKC. And they're nervous about OKC because
they never played in game 7.
They never played in game 7, and they expected them to have done. This would have been over. Rolled the Nuggets. They know that Nuggets, lost their GM, lost their coach, got a new coach. I mean, all these things that should be, Joker had 3 bad games. We have to win at the buzzer in game 1. And I mean, they had all these reasons. They're like, well, they had 100, on the OKC side, they won 68 games. They got all this deep bench. It should have just been, they just thought there was this stellar, juggernaut team. Okay. And now they're finding out they can't beat the Nuggets. What is going on? Because they underrated us. I get that. We're not going to, I like being an underdog. We usually play harder that way. Jamal even said it. He said, we know how to play from behind, basically, because we always usually find ourselves there. So that's who we are. And we play our best because, when something's on the line and we're healthy and we're not tired, and we won't be because we got 2-game rest. But my point is OKC now is kind of getting doubted by some people, which we said that at the top of this pod that Nuggets seem to be better than them. They just do. That's my thought on it.
Yeah, I think the Nuggets. No, go ahead, Chris. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say I'm just happy that they won Game 6 because not only did it extend the season, and that's just a moot point, but like that was the last home game of how I see it of the Mall Yoke Malone era. You know what I mean? And like it or not, I know Coach Malone's no longer there, but like this is still
His team,
that what started in 2015. That was like for me, that was in the back of my head. I was like, this is the last game of it because no matter what, they continue. It could be the last game. You know, if they go on and they continue on, which I pray that they're able to do into the next rounds and then obviously into the finals, perfect. Keep this thing going. But if that was the last game, like everything's gonna change this summer. You have a new GM,
yeah,
maybe a new coach,
yeah.
like but it's just gonna be different. It's gonna be refreshing. It's a positive move forward. But
Yeah.
it was still like that was in the back of my mind at Game 6, and I was just happy they came through.
And I have one more point. I'm sorry, I know you're going to go, Dot, but
Mhm.
well, I thought felt it, and we could talk about this. I just want y'all to talk about it. And Jay will, like we said, Jay Dubs, they call him, the one that is supposed to be the number 2, this just Shay, hasn't had a good series. I'm gonna say it that way.
No.
He had a great series, our first couple games, but then he's just, when I say mostly the last 3 or 4 games, he just hasn't had the points. And so he's not
From a Nuggets
shown.
fan perspective, I think he's having a fantastic
Gotta
season.
say, maybe
Oh,
not,
well.
maybe knock on wood when you say stuff like that. But I do agree with you.
I want him to have one more great game.
Okay, tweet,
Yeah,
okay,
tweet, yeah.
tweet, sarcasm,
I think
sarcasm.
the other thing that we should talk a little bit about, not so much, but I think it played a big role in Game 4 Game 6 is that we got SGA in foul trouble.
Yeah.
SGA in foul trouble was such a big pivotal swing. The Nuggets were almost down. Nuggets were almost down 10 or 11 points before SGA got in that foul trouble.
Yeah.
And we did what they did to us. We walked them down before the quarter ended, and we were only down 3 points. Then when the Game 4, when halftime came out, the Nuggets smoked them the rest of the game, essentially. LKC had moments where they were trying to get back in, but I think the Nuggets overall smoked them. I think what we've learned is that we know them so well now. I think everything about this series has just become, we all know each other far too well.
Yeah.
We know Chet Holmgren, if we foul him at the right time, is going to miss some free throws. And, seeing it's Game 7, it'd be a good time for him to miss 2 more.
Yeah.
We know that SGA is going to get his his little forearm push. Yeah. And he's going to get to the bucket at will a lot of times. So we just got to make it hard for him. And get the call. And get his foul calls. There was a couple ones that he's still getting away with that or just need to be studied by film.
Yeah, right.
I think when they in the offseason, you guys just got to look at this and be like, how is he getting this foul? But in general, I would hope, and I can't say this for certain, I would hope that this Game 7 really scares OKC. And it's one of those ones where they have to lose, you know what I'm saying? So they can get better. You know how we talk about going through stages of life? I would want them to lose in a Game 7 so they know how it feels. Yeah. And the Nuggets can keep going and doing what we need to do.
Yeah, well.
But before I go to touch on that point for real, I do want to give SGA his credit because...
Oh, no, I'm not hating on SGA.
I mean, I think, honestly... during this series, we said who are we going to hate by the end of this series.
Right.
One of the things we should also do is who are we going to add more respect to? Who are we going to gain more respect for? And I always thought Shea was good. I always say he's the MVP. I give him his basic flowers. But watching him night after night, he is truly a phenomenal basketball. He is fantastic. The way he's able to just craft you. It's he's kind of like Jokic, where it's he does it in a way that it looks different. Anthony Edwards, I love him, but you've seen that dog mentality coming at you. He's gonna shake. He's I could be the first person I think, oh, D Wade. I think of Kobe. I think of Jordan. Yeah. He's in that cloth. You've seen it. But there's a Bron, Jokic cloth magic where you've never seen them, and it's unique to them. And I think I have to start putting SGA in that community because he is phenomenal. And I don't know. I've gotten a lot more respect over the last 6 games for him. That being said, Game 7, everyone says it, so I'm not breaking news here. Pressure's on them. They're the 1 seed. Yeah, we've won the championship, but remember, we were going through turmoil this season. We almost, could have been the play-in. We lost our head coach and our GM 3 games, the latest in this season anyone else has had it. You know, we have a disgruntled superstar. You know what I mean? You guys were the one on easy street. You guys are the one that has game 7 at home.
Best offense all year, best defense all year.
Exactly. And at the end of the day, to your point, Dot, is when it gets close, the Nuggets need to keep it close. That's moral story. And I pray that they do. Because if they keep it close, even those fans, it's gonna get real, sorry to make it vulgar, real tight buttholes in that place. Real clinchy. It's gonna get real clinchy from the court
we can only hope.
to the front office to the fans in there. And if the Nuggets can just keep it close and cut that tension with the knife, and they could get a burst from someone, if it's MPJ, if it's CB, Peyton Watson, hell, like I said, a dark horse like Jalen Pickett, I don't care. Yeah. Just keep it close and get a surprise bucket from someone. Have someone have a Lou Dort game, someone have a Julian Strawther game, and the Nuggets win this one.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you, bro, because I'm sure that if people listen to this podcast, they probably could have heard it too. I don't know if we gave SGA his full credit. I listened throughout the podcast. I think we just were like, okay, Thunder are the best. SGA is great. They're gonna be like, you did what, when they get to these moments, we'll judge them. And I think of anybody that's been on their team, he's been the playoff riser. Like I don't know if anybody else has rose with him throughout the playoffs. And I think that's why we're giving SGA so much like respect on this podcast, is because he has done a great job this series, even when he struggled. Like outside that one time when Christian Brown had a really great game guarding him, he's been able to do whatever he kind of wants on the court. And you do appreciate that he is as good as he is, in that sense, watching him play basketball. Like that doesn't mean that I don't see the stuff that he does from the foul perspective and all the arm barn, like I'm saying. But in general, like I'm kind of with you. I've gained more respect for him as a basketball player.
He all right. I mean, that's just my thought on it. I mean, he's fine. I mean, he can get the MVP. And can we just put a pin in it right here? What is going on with getting the MVP like at the last
They keep finding new votes or something. Christoph,
what in the world?
I think at this point they're trying to give it a co-MVP because this is the latest it's ever been.
If the votes aren't co-MVP, you can't give some. You just can't we're just gonna give co-MVPs. We let all these people
co-MVP. If it's a co-MVP, I'm cool with that.
Yeah, but they let all these people vote, and they voted some kind of way, and so you're just going to say no, their votes don't count, and then you decide NBA to do co? It's crazy.
This is obviously look at it. It's cinema. Like you have the 2 top MVPs going for it in Game 7, and if this game comes down to a delta of 3, the point is they are both crazy valuable for their team. Like you can't sit here and say definitively that Shea deserves it more than Jokic. And as a Jokic fan, I can't definitively sit here and say that he deserves it more than SGA.
I can.
A co MVP would make a lot of sense to me.
I also just think it's weird that they haven't given them the MVP.
Yeah,
I don't know. Either one, like they should have. The whole thing about the MVP is showing the trophy like mid series that you won, and you had an opportunity to do this. Now, whoever you give it to may not be in the playoffs. I just think it just was a missed out. I don't know what they're trying to do.
I say count the votes, tell us who it is, and let's go on with life. I mean, seriously.
There is far too many other votes you guys have counted 15 times already. We know everything else except the MVP.
Yeah.
And it's been this late. So.
And I think it's going to be, maybe they'll announce it today. It's going to be tomorrow at the opening of the game or something. I heard some rumors that they didn't want one or the other getting upset. Or the other one getting mad, and then they'll go in the game, have an effect on the game. Come on, these are grown men that get paid a lot. That should be motivated anyways by whatever.
Jace, to that point is like if you didn't want that to happen, then give it to someone in Game 2.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah,
the series isn't won or lost, so you created that scenario for yourself. So that one's meaning to me too.
And so, can we go back to my J Will, because I did some research while we were on the phone here. The reason why I'm saying is, and I'm just saying. If you listen to some of my podcasts, I always argue that you have to have 2 superstars to win a series in the NBA because it's just that good. Okay, you have to have 2. You have SGA and you have J Will. That's the two-headed
J-Dub.
J-Dub, okay?
Christoph, I said hopefully by after Sunday, his name is JL.
JL, right? JL, like you were like Superman JL. Okay. Anyways, game 1, he had 16. Game 2, he had 17. Game 3, 32. I'm saying the man got tired. Okay. And then those 3 games, that's when Shea was not like having his regular numbers. And then it flipped. SGA started having his regular numbers, and J Will had 10 in the game 4, 18 in game 5, and then 6. Is he tired, or is it that when SGA has to have the ball a lot, okay, and you get defended in a zone like the Nuggets started doing in the last couple games routinely, does that affect him in some way? That's all I'm going to say. I'm not going to try to help him. I'm not trying to coach him to be better. I'm just trying to say, let's just see how it looks in game 7. I'll be able to tell early, okay, if he's stalling out or if he's taking over, and then if does that affect SGA's numbers? So, and because those are the 2. And you said, who do you want to punch in the face? I didn't get a chance to answer that. Caruso. That's who it is. He is a pest. If he was on my team, I'd love him. Don't get me wrong. I love him, but he's not. So he's a pest.
Yeah, that's fair. Any final thoughts on game 7 or anything before we go to the Nuggets?
Go Nuggets. That's all I'm saying.
I already said it. Keep the game close and let that tension in that building and that nervous energy and that pressure be all on OKC. Because when it gets close, and that's the beautiful thing, like last year with the Nuggets, when the pressure turned up, it was on the Nuggets side. Even though it's a game 7, it's pressure for both teams. The Nuggets had more pressure.
Because they were up 20 and was letting it come and go.
They were up 20. You're the home game. You're the defending champs.
Yeah.
So Minnesota was like, yeah, we just came back and it's a pressure situation, but we are playing a little bit more light than they are because everything is starting to weigh on them.
Yeah.
If the Nuggets do the same thing, the final 5 minutes of that game, it's like I said, it's like a 1, 2, 3 point game. It is even 5 point game. It is on them. The pressure is on OKC. So Nuggets just need to keep it there. That means having a good first quarter. Closing the second quarter.
They can win the quarters. They won a lot of quarters in game 6.
Mm-hmm.
Winning the quarter.
Do that, we'll be in a good spot.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I said, the OKC hasn't shown this, but I would love it to be tomorrow. I mean, if they have some setbacks in the game 7, I would love to see them just not fully be ready for the moment. That'd be
you want to see if they have some Phoenix Suns in them?
I would love to see if they do the Clippers or the Phoenix Suns where they just get rolled and can't hit a shot. I would just love that. But
in game 6, Nuggets won 3 of the quarters. The second quarters with the one when the bench,
sometimes Shea scores so dang quick in the shot clock. Right?
Yeah.
It's within like 4 seconds and he's already got a shot up and it's like, and so I don't know. It would be hard.
I gotta say it because I haven't said it and I always say it. The hardest thing to do is to end somebody's season.
It is.
And it's very hard. It's very hard to end someone's season when the other team is very skilled at ending someone else's season. So,
You're right. So yeah.
Nuggets definitely have had their game 7 moments. Anyways, let's go to not Nuggets. Speaking of defending champions, we have to get some Corona and gotta get some and take them to put them on ice and send them to Cancun.
Yeah.
Because Boston Celtics are no longer in the playoffs.
Get well soon, Jason Tatum.
And if you are a fan of this podcast, I think we all basically said Boston was going to win the East.
We said Boston was going to win.
Christoph even has to eat the most crow because he came on and said Knicks are going to lose in 5, and yet they won in 6.
There we go.
Okay, let me eat some crow.
But you didn't know Jason Tatum was going to
towards Achilles. If you told me
right.
they're gonna blow 3 20-point leads, and Jason Tatum's gonna blow his Achilles in game 3, game 4.
You would have called that.
I would have said the Knicks in 6. I still think the Knicks are fraud. I mean, I'm not thinking they're frauds. Now I'm kind of rooting for the Knicks because some personal things I got going. You know what I mean? That's all I'll say. I'll leave it at that. I'm kind of rooting for the Knicks now because I have my own personal agenda. Okay. And I want the Knicks to be in the finals, and I want the Nuggets to be in the finals. Let's set the record straight. I spoke it, and now it's out there. But from a this Eden Crow perspective, Shout out to front row at Madison Square Garden, because that's become like the sports red carpet of just
Right,
like,
I guess so. The only thing they didn't have is a red carpet.
Yeah, Bad Bunny,
you got
Timothy
Bad Bunny,
Chalamet,
My God.
Adam Sandler, Ben Stiller,
Russ,
Tracy Morgan,
Russ Wilson.
Russell Wilson.
yeah,
You
for
got
whatever.
some other Giants dudes I don't know.
Yeah, some other Giants.
Obviously, you got Spike Lee. You got
Yeah.
Latrell Sprewell and John Starks. You got Pat
Everybody who ever
Ewan.
played on.
You got
with-
Bernard King. You
Yeah.
know, I'm shocked if Bill Bradley doesn't pop up at some
He was
point.
there.
He was there.
He was there.
See, that's once more.
there.
Like, it's a who's who. Walt Frazier wearing the
Right.
OG Puma. Like, come on.
That man Russ switched up quick. That man was quick to be out of New York Knicks game.
Yeah, he's been at the Nuggets. He was at the Nuggets.
No,
game.
He's true to his
I'll
city.
give he likes basketball. He likes being
Yeah, he was at
basketball.
the
And
Nuggets.
he's true to his city. Whatever city he goes to, he gonna rep.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then Pittsburgh didn't have a team, Seattle didn't have a team, so
Right.
if
He's back in
he's
the-
in a
back
city
in the
with
base
his basketball
basketball.
team, he's gonna be there.
Yeah.
So I'll give him, if the Nets were good, he'd be at the Nets game. I'm not,
Right, he would.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna use this as an excuse to hate on Russ.
No.
But the Knicks, the Nova Knicks, I gotta give them credit. They look good. Karl Anthony Towns came out, and that's how the Nuggets need to do tomorrow. Just
Pounce.
jump down their
Up on
throat.
him.
Yep.
Jump down their throat, and they'll show a little bit more fight than the Celtics, because the Celtics, you know what I realized watching the end of that game, like when it started to turn, like in the third, well, they already turned in the second quarter, but like in the third quarter, you could see the body language on the Celtics, even
Yeah,
the coaching
like
staff
giving
was like,
up.
and that's why it's hard to go back to back, and that's why the NBA's had so much parity. This is about to be what is it, 7 straight years of a new champion?
Yep.
It is hard. Like, not
Yeah.
only you have the second apron and like building a team, constructing a team to like,
Right.
there's no juggernaut team anymore. Or if there is a juggernaut team, you see with Phoenix and Brooklyn before that, like you can't fill it out with the pieces you need to have
Golden
the
State,
depth to
San
go out.
Antonio. I mean,
You
But
know?
Boston didn't have that problem.
But Boston have. But what I was going to say is,
They had a
you can just
focus
see
problem, if anything.
it takes an absolute toll when you take everyone's best shot starting in
For 82
October.
games. Yeah.
Starting in October.
Yeah.
That is tough. And you
Right.
see it's tough on the body, it's tough on the mental, and it's exhausting.
Yeah,
And
it
you just need a juggernaut team. You need a KD on the 73 win Warriors team to
Right.
go back to
Add
back.
it to the Splash Brothers and Draymond.
And you need J.R. Smith to dribble the clock out in game
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any thoughts on Boston? Where do they go from here? What do you?
They just need to get rest over the summer. They don't need to tear their team up. They need to sign their vets.
I don't think they can sign
And
back.
Jason Tatum.
I don't think they can sign back
better.
Kristaps Porzingis, or
Yeah,
I think Al Horford's retired, so they're got to revamp the front court.
The back.
Backcourt rather.
Backcourt.
Yeah.
Porzingis and Horford.
Front court.
That's your front.
I said it right the first time. The front court. Where?
No, but at the end of the day, is like Porzingis is now probably one of the biggest wild cards in the NBA to me. You know, where he has the upside of a champion and someone who could build your team around, but he has the downside of someone who could he's going through he's got a virus or whatever his condition is.
Yeah.
That's so volatile that makes him a volatile player. I can't invest $35 million in this player, even though he could command it. You know what I mean? So he's now entered that piece of his career. He's a great veteran piece on a team that doesn't necessarily need him. If he's Nicola's backup,
okay, that'll work.
But we would need our rookie from Dayton who's dealing with it.
We need to see him play.
He would need. Yeah, if we had both of them, that's cool. But Porzingis has now reached that point. He's not like I would if I was a GM, which I'm not. I know I'm better than 2 at least, but like you can figure out the 2 who they are. And I would take a shot on him, but you got to hide him. You got to have the team for it. Like,
you wouldn't want him to be your starting everyday guy.
Our next Coronas in Cancun goes out to a very great city, by the way. San Francisco, always good to see you. But Golden State, you'll be having Coronas as well.
We talked about them last time on this pod, and it's me especially with Draymond. I want Draymond to get some rest and get back to his center self. Just be right here and go.
Don't be angry anymore.
Don't be. I'm not saying that. Not saying that. I just want him to be his centered self and you know, try to play there. I mean, because I get it that we love his energy, and we love how he attacks things, defensively always. But this other stuff, antics, I'm gonna call it, we can do without.
I don't know. I think I've always been a Draymond fan. I don't think he's changed since day one. He's not going to. And I think
He's
at the end of
gotten
the
worse.
day, no, I don't think he's gotten
Yes,
worse.
he
I
is.
don't think, no, yeah.
He's just gotten, people got more tired of it. But like even in 2016, he punched LeBron and
And choked
Yeah,
him.
remember?
below the waist.
Yeah.
I'm like, this has kind of just been Draymond. So I think it's always so weird when people.
I
The
know.
only thing that was the worst was the Jordan Poole because that was a little bit extra. But
Punch Jordan Poole,
Yeah,
choke Gobert.
that's what a little bit more. But in general, I don't think he is just Draymond. You get all the good and all the bad. That's the way if you had Dennis Rodman. We just forget that actually is a characteristic in basketball. That
Yeah, I guess.
basketball's gotten so nice, you just don't expect like a Draymond.
No,
But that's
but my thing is this, like, Gobert deserved to get choked up.
Oh boy, I knew you would say that. No, it's just, it's
I'm
somebody.
kidding.
Some people would say that Nuggets needed a little bit of that heft, because everybody Joker's doing his thing and everything else, and then they got Russ. That's why Russ says what's your job on the Nuggets? He'll say, to rough things up, to muck them up,
Yeah, it's something that rhymes with that for sure. But jumping back to Nuggets quickly, I don't think if the Nuggets are able to win tomorrow in Game 7 and they go see Minnesota, unlike last year, I don't think the physicality of Minnesota is going to be so overbearing this time around because this is a physical, like, okay, see,
I think the Nuggets,
is physical.
Yeah, I'm with you.
They're physical, and I think the
great
Clippers were
defense.
physical. And the Clippers were physical too.
York. Oh my God.
And the Clippers were physical too. And then I started thinking about it. I was like, dang, like, okay, so Minnesota's gonna be rested. They've had pretty couple breezy series if you want to think about it. I know they beat up on the Lakers who are good and the Stephless Warriors, but but I'm like, the Nuggets went a hard fought 7 and then came and fought the best team in basketball on 12 days or however many days rest they had.
Only got 2 days rest since I think they said April 29th or something.
And so like I'm not gonna play that thing anymore. They had Clippers might have been the most physical team in basketball. Then you played the second most physical team in basketball in the OKC. And now if you're able to win tomorrow, inshallah, you go play the third most physical team in basketball. I think and then if you graduate and play the Knicks, you're playing another physical team in basketball. So
don't sleep on the Pacers.
But here's my thing is what I'm saying is the through line through it is if that was the most physical team, you're playing the most physical team, the next one's most physical, and the next one, maybe you're the most physical team.
Yeah, right. Say that.
Yeah. Last on the Coronas in Cancun. Believe Lynn. This is for you.
Believe me.
Cleveland rocks. Cleveland rocks. Ohio.
Spidey does. Spidey does. He rocks.
What do you guys think? What's the next move, or what do you think? What do you hope or see for the Cavs?
See if you could get LeBron to come back.
Wow.
Well, sounds good. Well, let's go to our 2 minutes remaining.
2 minutes remaining.
2 minutes remaining.
As you know, basketball has become quite positionless.
Huh?
So, I just want to ask, who do you think are the best position? I heard this on a podcast and I thought it was a really good conversation. Shout out to Steph Curry. Who do you think has been like the best or the best positionless basketball players in the last 15 years?
Can I go Homer?
Yeah, go home.
Joker.
Yep.
He brought that skill set to the center position. Now we've seen it in the other positions on the floor, but he brought it big time, to the center position. He's a guard when you need him to be a guard. And the thing in positionless for me, and I know it's going to be defined differently as we go around the horn here, but it means position really. It means if you're true a center and you play most of your games, some percentage of them, higher than 50% of your games you play or ever touch the ball. When you play something else, like Joker. He plays a guard like it's okay. Of course he can play forward because he's a big guy, but he has, that's why he has all these triple doubles. So I would say anybody who gets triple doubles is playing positionless. And I know I'm gonna steal some of your thunder, but Russ has, he's a positionless. I know it's the center is hard, but he he seems he can rebound. He definitely gets assist. And so,
and he can play defense against across
yes.
the board.
And then I'd say maybe Giannis, because Giannis always wants to be bringing the ball up, and he can play forward and of course center. So I think those are my three.
All I will say, Kyle, you always talk about me taking a bunch. I got it from my mama.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, for real, because she took all of them. She got really
stopped it.
I was curious she's gonna take my one, and that's Draymond Green. I think we just got done talking about him. He's when I think when that phrase started becoming a thing, he was right in the middle of it.
Yeah,
and to your point about getting triple doubles,
he could be
he could bring the ball up. He could play center. That NASCAR 5 was iconic at this point. Like
he does it more. You know,
he was dang near their point guard during that
run.
Does it center
more often than not. That's what I guess. Because we could say the NBA is gravitating to this anyway. So you can name a lot of people, but I'm talking about people who that's their game. That's what they do. So Draymond, you're right.
Chris, I'll let you gonna say your boy Ben Simmons.
We just want him to play any position.
I'm just messing. Christy now.
You see, I'm turning a new leaf in this pod.
Oh, I see that.
After I went off on Mr. Booth in the first 5 minutes, I was like, Chris, calm down.
Yeah.
You can't talk positionless without naming the GOAT.
The GOAT.
Or go to Jason. Go to Jason. I don't know how people define him, but LeBron James.
Yes.
LeBron James.
Because I think if you think about positionless, and there's probably other players throughout history that I'm not going to do the whole through line.
No, we're not.
But I think Magic Johnson was the first point guard that was 6'9" that could play, that in a game 7, played center and scored 42 plus points. He was kind of like that OG right there.
He's the OG.
That was the through line to what you get with LeBron as the first
forward.
Point forward. And I remember we all as kids point forward, and that was the thing. LeBron's like a point forward. That was really big. And then I'm going to throw in a name that people don't say too much, but really defined this next era of big men was Anthony Davis. Because if you remember Anthony Davis in Kentucky, he was the first guy that could dribble, had crazy handles as a forward. He could play the point at times. He had good passing and all that. So, and then one of the things people talk about, I don't know if I necessarily agree with this, but people talk about positionless as being being able to play all different defensive ways. You can play all the different positions, and AD can guard 1 through 5. So I think that's why he's got a lot going there too. And then of course you get to Jokic and being the first real true center. Point center. So that's kind of how I think about it. But people think about it in different ways.
Can I give you one who thinks he's positionless?
Who?
Karl Anthony Towns.
Yeah, he does, but come on.
Dude thinks he a guard, but
he shoots threes.
You're a center.
Threes.
He's a small forward and a power forward. That's what he is.
He's
right?
But in actuality, you're a center.
3-point shooting center.
So get your ASS to the block.
I'll give him that, to the block. He is the best. He's probably the best
3-point
shooting big.
That's what he's saying.
What about Joel Embiid? I know it's the second round. We don't talk about Joel Embiid anymore.
Joel
Embiid is true to his position to me.
Center.
He's just a center with handles.
Yes,
he'd be shooting. They really do think they're positionless.
Great player.
But I don't think it's anything else. Now, I guess you could say that Joel Embiid is a center small forward. He'd definitely be trying to play like a small forward. So I guess that's kind of what you'd say.
Right, man. Well, here's our list. We had Joker, Russ, and Giannis, Draymond.
Draymond's a great choice.
We said Magic is the king of all this stuff. He's the starter, and then
he's the founder. He's the founding
definitely a Nexus event.
LeBron is the king.
LeBron's the king, and then AD. So I think that's a good list.
Because AD did transform this big man moment we have now, where big men you can't just be on the court back to basket giving me 10 and 10. Because remember how good Andre Drummond was when Drummond would get 20 and 20, and we thought it was that's all he did though. He got boards and dunks. Now, if you're just getting boards and dunks, you almost can't even play. You can't be the main guy on a team no more. It's kind of sad, but it's just how NBA's changed.
Yep.
Anyways. From the Just Nuggets podcast, my name is K. Colley.
Yep.
You can find us on X. We'll be tweeting live, enjoying the game. Nuggets are up to game 7 against the Thunder, as you know.
1:30.
1:30 start on the mountain side, 3:30 on the East Coast side. Nuggets, this is your moment. Please let us keep podcasting.
We're begging.
Please let us keep enjoying how great you guys are playing at basketball.
And make our day.
I was going to say, I know if you're at this end of this point and listening to us, you really rock with the Just Nuggets podcast. So thank you for listening to us. And before we close out, I had to do it. Can we pray? Dear God, please let the Nuggets win Game 7.
Yes.
In your name, I pray.
In your
Go
name.
Nuggets.
Go Nuggets.
Go Nuggets. All right, have a good one, everybody. Take care.
Yep.